Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? So, I'm back. I'm going to talk about the. Still working on this. I was working on the Sethbling storage, and I need to, I think, preface the video correctly, if I'm saying that right. Basically, I'm gonna stop working on it. but I'm gonna come back to it. No doubt, I'm gonna revisit it, and probably will build another one. But at the moment, I do want to get back to other things, and it's actually giving me it's just pissing me off. Now I'm super depressed. Basically, if anybody doesn't know, I've been working on the Sethbling storage, the infinite storage carts, and and I'm building multiple versions, all this testing, whatevs. So far I've built like 2. This one was sort of a test of a certain functionality. It sort of works. And then this one is the newest one that I built, which is another test of certain functionality, and it also sort of works. I mean, it works, but there's enough troubleshooting that I've had to done, which makes me hate the thing, both of these. And not only that, there's still a few. There's still 2. Wait, is it 2? Wait, is it? Oh. Well, there's still at least one known bug with this new machine that I haven't fixed, and I'm sure there's going to be more bugs that I need to troubleshoot once I fix that one, because literally the past week has been more or less me just fixing bugs and troubleshooting in order to fix more bugs with these things, and it is it's an experience that puts such a sour taste in my mouth. I'd rather do anything, but I actually made it pretty far with just how awful it's been, though. Anyway, so I'm trying to think how I want to. Well, I had an idea. So I'm gonna go over basically this machine. I think I already went over that one, so who cares? But I'm gonna go over this new machine, the new design I was doing for it, and which is basically this thing here, and then I sort of moved it over there. So this thing looked a lot better in its past life a few days ago, but you know, whatever. Anyway, so I'll go over this machine, and then after this machine, I'm going to go over more or less a lot of the stuff I've learned through working with the infinite storage system, and the idea of it in general, the concept in general, and a lot of the problems I'm having with it, which make me seriously doubt the legitimacy of this entire concept in of itself. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about this thing now. So this is the newest one, the second one. You know, of course, every time I do a functionality test, I hope that it works. Evidently, it has. For both of them, it really hasn't worked that well. But this is a different functionality. This is another machine with different functionality than this one over here. And I'm going to talk about that. So first of all, I guess I'll use the machine, and then I'll talk about it afterwards in a more technical sense. So you have your tags. This machine has to use tags, or at least this functionality. Anyway, so you have your tags, and I hope it works correctly for the demonstration. You have rejected sorts. You have auto sort. I explained that in the last stream. Basically, it's just then you can tell what's inside of your system by the rejected sorts, knowing that those items aren't there, and just being able to throw them in here and make another chest and throw them in. That's why rejected sorts are important. You have the next carts inevitably button and add cart to storage, simple stuff. And then your tags stored here. Anvil here. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's the UI. So let's ask for some. I want 2 iron chests and like 4 cobble chests. I think that was 4. I have absolutely no idea. We'll see if it acts up while you guys are here, or we'll see if it's nice. 2 iron. It's got a mind of its own, so that's it. I want you all to be aware of that. It can do anything it wants, and it has its own agency to change that. Alright, well, there you go. that I think is actually one of that. I think that's that bug right there. I don't know why that's happening, but basically, yeah, I put in 2 iron. I put in cobblestone. I guess I put in 3 cobblestone, didn't I? Unless I messed something up. Well, regardless, yeah. So you know, you throw them in. You're supposed to get the chests. Inevitably, the functionality I have in mind, which is you can all guess what it is. You throw the items in and get the chest. I mean, right? Is what I wanted to sort of get done before I made this video, but like I said, the entirety of all of, of just a week or so has been me just trying to make it work, basically. I need to talk about this later. Alright, let's try it. Let's try it again. Let's do diamond, emerald, stone, and sandstone. Let's try that. I don't know, I'm just doing random things. I'll do like a bunch of one. I'll do like a bunch of cobblestone. I think that's the one where I have a lot of BS for that one. If I'm correct, a lot of storage. There's our diamond. You can see your little tracks in the background. Here's our emerald. Boop. Nope. Wait, I put in stone, didn't I? And that. But the emerald never got here. Interestingly enough. Well, I actually maybe come in here. Also, I'm using water elevators so you guys can... Yep, there it is. That's weird. I'll just throw it back in. Yeah, it's anyway, it always acts... it's been a disaster. I don't want to iterate. I don't want to reiterate, but it's been... Yeah, it's basically been a waking nightmare I've had to endure in order to try and get you guys something. So I'm finally just going to say nope. Like I said, I'm not giving up, but I'm taking a long break, probably. I don't have emeralds in my system. I just heard it send it back. As you can see, yeah, there it is. No way I don't have emeralds in my system. I'm going to set it one more time. There's no way I don't have emeralds in my system. What is it? Is this it? What? Why is it on the ground? See, this is the kind of unpredictability. It's like, oh, everything else is fine. Oh, but this chest, just on the ground, just sitting outside on the ground. It's like, oh yeah, that's exactly. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about it all. I'll talk about it all. Make no mistake. You guys will hear it all. Hear it all. Anyway, I'm gonna throw this back in. Boop. Emerald. I like this little thing. I think that's cool. All right, give me emeralds. Boop. I promise you guys, if it worked, it would work. All right. There's our other emerald tag. How long is it gonna take for me to? There we go. Should be pretty soon. Sorry, I'm taking up your guys' time waiting for this. This much there. Ooh, okay, obviously. And then one more because I don't know. Just why not? Okay, let's do 8 cobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty sure. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Better have 8 cobble. 4, 5, 6. That's interesting. 8. Then again, I guess that was expected, right? Wait, I want more cobble. I'll throw in 2 more. Specifically because I think one of the chests has 2 tags instead of 1. As you can see, the tags are in the top left. I guess I'll explain that stuff to you. I'm trying to think what the functionality of this... Oh, yeah. So, let me explain the functionality, I guess, while we're waiting. The functionality is basically you throw them in and you get your stuff. The chests have to be set up. All chests need tags. for this to work because it uses a single hopper input system instead of like an item hopper sorter. So all the chests have to have an open slot that something can be put into, which means you have to have a tag that's always open. So that's why you have to have a tag. So for some reason, I filled this one with the tags instead of the actual cobblestone. Admittedly, that's pretty disappointing on my part, but you know, what are you gonna do? See, there's another one with the double tag. Anyway, I expected that because this one, for some reason, didn't have its tag. Or, it didn't have all the tags. I have 64 tags in that chest, so I can tell if something goes wrong. I think these are all just normal cobble, right? No, these is tagged cobble too. So, okay, so I was like tripping balls when I was putting that together. Get some more cobble. Some regular cobble. Instead of the tag cobble, which somehow I got mixed up a bunch with. Yeah, that's the only thing with the way I do my tags. You could do tags however you want. Tags are pretty up to the person who makes them, but my tags aren't that great because they all look the same. But in all practicality or in survival, you should just be able to more or less discredit this top slot up here and just be like, okay, whatever. In the hypothetical situation that the system is working the way it should, you should just be able to disregard that and, you know, who cares about the top left slot? We all know that's for tags and just move on, right? Shouldn't be too difficult. But in the situation whilst I'm troubleshooting the machine, it does make it hard. So yeah, you need tags in your system. It calls it up and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it's all relatively simple as far as what it should be doing and what it sort of does. So yeah, it got all the cobble, admittedly. Nothing wrong here, unlike the other ones. Wait, oh yeah, and you can call up multiple things too, I guess I did demonstrate that, didn't I, by calling in multiple different things. Do a piece of iron as well. Well, yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, there's the diamond, or, come on, give me that. There's the diamond. There's the iron. There it is. Alright, I want to talk about it, like right now, guys, so I'm going to do that. Alright, everybody out. I think you guys have seen the drop. It's pretty cool. I'm going to stand in here. Anyway. Alright, let's actually talk about this. I've already thought about it in my mind a bunch, so I'm not going to be able to rant it, I feel like, as well, because of the fact that I've sort of already concluded my own thoughts. But I guess it's probably important to go through it in general. So I think I explained it on the last one. I'm not sure how well. The last stream you guys saw this thing. And this was supposed to be more or less the new mechanics for this machine. Well, none of this works. None of it at all. I never got to use any of this or this in the form it's in right now. I had to alter it quite tremendously. I mean, the functionality of the thing is the same, but pretty much other than that, everything about these two thingies were changed. This thing being just simply how the minecart passes by. Don't worry about these two hoppers, but how the minecart passes by the two hoppers, or the hopper here, which puts the item right into the minecart, and then the function of this thing just being basically a counter, which counts the number of minecarts that have actually, you know, so then you don't get more than 12 minecarts in your UI, right? So the functionality, I kept the functions as necessary, but the actual build of them is completely different. Oh man, so yeah, they didn't really, yeah, basically those, as far as exactly what those are, were not used. But anyway, so here's the part where, oh jeez, I don't even know where to start. It's such a disaster. Just in the concept in general, but also because of the concept in general as a disaster, the machines are sort of as such. You could make something super simple, but that's not really my goal. Other people have made simple iterations just with one or two ideas. and that's great and all, but it just doesn't get too far with what I would like, right? I've explained this enough, but so that's why I try and make things complex for the experience of the user, but in doing so, it makes it makes everything difficult or impossible depending on the situation. Anyway, so just remember, I'm coming back to this at some point, but I'm going to Texas, and during that time, I'll only be playing Minecraft, so I'll work on it then. But that's a while from now. All right, so I'm putting a big pin in this whole in all this work I'm doing. But anyway, explaining this, basically this new concept, you guys knew about what that one was from the last stream. This new concept is basically like the Sethbling, like the Sethbling's functionality, where it's just a hopper puts the item into the chest, detects that item leaving the hopper, and then removes the chest. It's that one, not a hopper sorter. So I have that here. Now, the problem why it's not nearly as fast as what's going on here, like if I did this, you could see that it should, if a minecart came by, I could just pick it up, and this thing would basically allow the minecart to just pick it up and just keep going. Like when I mean fast, I mean the refresh rate of the items coming into this hopper that puts the item into the minecart that can receive it, right? It's the refresh rate of basically your queue, the refresh rate of your queue, the items that you're searching. Oop, that's bad. Come here, you jerk. Where is this? Oop. But the refresh rate of those items being searched had to be like dramatically reduced, as you can see here, and inevitably the finished thing. Yeah, there's a delay time. And the reason for that is because when you have the refresh rate that high, basically if there's a cart that has the item that is being searched, and that cart came right after another cart that just got its item searched, I guess, and then it went up into the queue, into your display, and it basically, it got delivered. The next cart, if that cart was also getting delivered, wouldn't be able to actually go up the path because of how fast basically the item gets put into the cart. And also, I'm sort of starting to doubt myself again, but basically there was a problem with having it refresh too fast, because if the next cart also went, it's either the carts afterward, no, yeah, okay, because it's the fact of the matter that the track here, which moves the cart into the output for the minecarts, literally can't refresh fast enough for the next cart to go in. So there had to be a delay on the refresh rate of the items being searched in order to allow this minecart rail that basically sends the carts out to basically reset. As you can see, it's got this little thing here which needs to reset in order to have that happen. That was way too complicated for what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, I need to explain this in a more broadened sense. In all simplicity, the mechanics or the desires for the functionality were all there, but the fact of the matter is that the machine in of itself is no general it's no general machine. There are so many, there's like, you've got this overarching like function, right, which in this case it is the minecarts basically being shot up one by one, going around, being searched, and then, going back into storage, and then it just happens over and over and over again, right? If there's something that needs to be searched. That's the overarching concept, right? And that's all I was thinking about when I built this thing here, right? And that's all. And I was just like, well, I just need to count them, and that's all I was thinking about with this thing here. I even had 8 items. I didn't even have the realistic 12 or 18 items, which I don't even know why. I somehow just decided not to even think about that. That's the overarching concept. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because it's all good and dandy when you're just thinking about that one concept in that and how that thing's going to function in a very general manner, right? The minecarts come in this way, the items get put in this way, and then they get shot out this way, and that's great and all. The problem is, and the problem that I've been facing with all of this, is the fact of the matter is that there's so many intricate variables because of the interactions with the user and how the carts come in and how items come in and all of these different things. There's so many different variables and they all have to be accounted for, right? In order for a machine to actually function correctly, they all have to be accounted for, every single variable. And I'm trying to think of some examples right now. Man, let me think. I guess, so if you throw like 2 items in here and then you throw 3 more, or if you throw 1 item in here and then you throw 2 more, or if you just throw 1, or if you throw 5 items at the same time, right? Those are all separate things that need to be accounted for as far as whether it will actually mess up the machine or not. And I say items, like items you want to search into your basically into your searching thing, right? So how fast what items are thrown in, and basically, I'm trying to think of some examples of the rapidly changing variables of the whole thing. The minecarts that come in when you basically send back minecarts, if you're searching, right? Because you'd say, oh yeah, when you're done with the search, and then I'm looking through my storage, and then I'll just send back the minecarts. That's how you think about it originally. And then you have to realize, well, wait a minute. What if he's currently searching something, and then he presses the next minecarts? Well, now that's an entire another situation, right? Because now you're sending back the minecarts whilst the minecarts are going, basically moving themselves whilst they're being searched. So it's an entirely new situation, and it's just that kind of stuff where you think about it in one way, which is the general way you'd imagine it happening, and then you start to realize there's so many different ways that things are going to occur, and every single time you realize a new way something can occur, and you actually do it, the whole thing breaks, right? And that means you have to now take into account, absolutely, literally everything that can happen has to be taken into account. And that has been where my frustration has lied for pretty much all of this thing. Well, a good 50%. I'll explain the other 50% right now. The main reason why I hate doing all of this, and why there's been so much troubleshooting, and why it's taken so long, and why it's so difficult in general to have complex functions with the concept of minecart storage, right? This minecart infinite storage concept. The main reason why this is so difficult, in all simplicity, is because we are using minecarts, right? Minecart chests, specifically, but it is a minecart. These things aren't like blocks; they are entities, and they have so many different properties, and they act absolutely like they have their own mind. And I can say that at this point because of the work that I've done, and not only that, nobody remembers, and I don't expect you guys to. This is the advanced potion machine. Yes, I never got it to work. I know. The thing is that it was just going to be more troubleshooting, and honestly, I don't think it was going to be worth it. So I just sort of, I just gave up. But it's awesome, right? The thing with the advanced potion machine is that I also, which this is a big error on my part, I've learned my lesson. So don't worry. But I also use minecarts, and I use minecarts as my data for the advanced potion machine and my memory. Now, it's an interesting concept, right? Minecarts can hold data, right? They can store blocks, and they can move. So I was like, well, that's perfect. I want to be able to move them around and manipulate them, but I also want to be able to store the data. So I thought minecarts were perfect. Minecarts are, and it turns out, when I was doing this, minecarts are the glitchiest, most unpredictable things to work with in Redstone. In fact, it's hard to, I don't really think it's Redstone at all. You're working with an entity that has the ability to basically interact with Redstone if you get, a detector rail, and then you get maybe a comparator, but it's all with the detector rail and stuff, right? And rails in general, which aren't necessarily Redstone other than the detector rail. But anyway, you're basically working with entities and trying to manipulate them with redstone. In all simplicity, minecarts are just very unreliable. They are very unreliable, and I realized that way too late when I made my advanced potion machine. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. Yeah, no. And it's only more confirmed in my mind now that I've been working with the infinite storage system. Uh, my gosh, 50% of my troubleshooting, 50% of my troubleshooting has been because of these freaking minecarts. You guys saw when I was doing the testing, one of them was just sitting down here. The emerald minecart is just sitting on the bottom. It's like, how the does that even happen? None of these minecarts are doing that, and this one just decided it was its time. It just leaves. Yeah, there's no consistency. What I'm not. I shouldn't have to defend myself if people actually care. I know this more than anyone at this point. I've worked with minecarts in Redstone far too much with which they're very unpredictable. They have so many jankety properties. It's insane. I put a hopper where this piece of obsidian is, and this has a block above it, and the minecarts aren't even on top of it. And yet when the sticky piston fires the minecarts out and gets them searching, their inventories start emptying into this hopper that is what do you call it, just beside them. They're not on top of the hopper. The hopper is literally horizontal to these minecarts, and the minecarts start dropping things into them. It's also, if you guys don't know, if there's a hopper, oh my gosh, if there's a hopper right here and a minecart goes on this rail, the minecart will drop items into the hopper. It's like, it's just, I know that I knew that when I was building this. I found it out a while ago, but that still doesn't even seem right to me. It's like passing on top of the rail over the blocks. It's never actually on top of the hopper, and yet it drops its things into the hopper. At no point is it actually on top of the hopper. It's just the fact that these things are entities, minecarts, and they're just so janky. Their properties are so janky. It's very difficult to work with them. Unlike normal conventional redstone, right? Everything here is a block. Everything here is very specific, binary 1 and 0, and it's a block. It functions exactly how it should. Pistons, they're a little janky depending on what you do, but they're more or less, they're on the same page. Anyway, that's my main rant about the fact that this whole thing is just totally flawed. because we're using entities to try and do infinite storage, and understandably entities like villagers and cows, you can throw them all into the same place and they can stack. That's great, but the problem is my gosh, they are so difficult to work with and so unreliable, especially something like this where you have an entity where you're working with its inventory and trying to move and trying to manipulate that. I've done it twice in gigantic projects, as you guys can see, and both times it's been a complete disaster. So first and foremost, I've learned my lesson about working with minecarts. I think I'm never going to do it ever again after, I revisit this and probably make a good version. I think it can be done, so I will pursue it. But after that, I'm totally done with it because they're too unreliable. Really, I've troubleshooted so much at this point. Probably have 8 different bugs I fixed with these things, and a lot of them are because of the fact that it's just simply a matter that I'm working with hopper minecarts, and they're not working in any normal sense. They're also inconsistent, which is, well, I already said that. It's the main thing is that they have, their consistency is so janky. Well, there isn't consistency, right? I guess there's a general sense where it'll usually work this way, and then every once in a while it won't. Yeah, I'd never want to work with hopper minecarts again. 2 big projects not working because of it. These ones can be possible. This one, highly debatable. I'm sure it could work. But, yeah. Also, with the advanced potion machine, inevitably me realizing that the minecarts are the worst things in existence, and working with them is basically a death trap. So you sort of have to realize that for yourselves. I built the, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was my own, basically redstone memory. And this one is actually a binary-based thing, so it's not based on retarded entities and trying to manipulate that bullcrap. This is straight up just 1s and 0s making it happen, so... If I was smarter, or just more. If I was more wise, if I had more wisdom, I would have built the advanced potion machine all entirely from the start with redstone memory based stuff instead of freaking minecarts, which are just complete aids. they're so they're janky and inconsistent, and working with them, trying to use a janky and inconsistent like thing in your machines is well, once again, it will be a disaster. Make no mistake. So yeah. So I'm going to talk about something real interesting. So also, in all simplicity, the auto sort and the auto reject literally doesn't work right now. I had to disconnect it because the hopper. Once again, I said it. Items got put into that hopper even though they were never actually above the hopper. I guess their entity passes over it when they get lifted up, but that's oh man. Oh man. I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to address that. But yeah, so auto sort and auto reject doesn't even work right now. This is what this pink thing was for. I guess I'm going into more of the functionality problems right now. I don't think it's actually possible to have a complex auto sort. And the reason why I say that is because I can't see. Well, if you could move, maybe. Obviously, the other one didn't work. What's going on here is that you can't individually sort each item into the minecart chests because the minecart chests are inconsistent, and they literally do not accept items at a constant rate. So it will randomly put the item into the chest at a random point in time, instead of being consistently put into a chest if there's an open inventory with the space to accept. So basically, you can't do any timing-based redstone with that, which is always great, considering that's kind of the main way you do that. So I don't know if I explained that in the last stream, but regardless, so that's the situation that I was in. So I built this thing, which basically just says, okay, well, if I can't individually sort each item into our pack of minecart chests, then I'll just basically let it do its own thing. And if this chest overflows and items get into here, that'll activate this, and that'll basically just say that the hopper that's sorting items isn't sorting the items anymore, right? So you've got plenty of storage to dump cobble, dump inventories worth of stuff, right? But if none of that stuff is being sorted, that means one thing, and the one thing is that the items in the hopper are currently not able to be sorted, which means, they're clogging the system in all technicality. And that was the way I could recognize that these items can't be searched. So basically I just have this thing come in there. The sticky piston basically can't be attached to anything, so I had to do some extreme jank by basically I had to move a powered rail into position and then have it use that power rail, and then move the power rail back out of position. Oh my gosh. Even though actually the redstone for it is actually super simple, which I'm very happy about, but it's still like the jankiest way to make that happen. Oh my gosh. And the reason why it has to be a hopper minecart versus a hopper is because of the fact that I didn't want it to take forever in order to remove your clogged hopper, right? So this basically comes in here and just, that hopper that's got 5 slots that are all clogged, they just get basically, I can't snap right now, but they basically just get removed very quickly because it's a hopper minecart, and then it gets brought back out of the position. All of the items that should be getting sorted now get flooded into the main hopper and do get sorted, and all the items that were clogging it basically get removed with this hopper and get sent back to the UI. Anyway, so maybe that could still work. That's the only way to do it that I can think of, guys. Considering the first way didn't work, and this is the second way, and this is the only way I think you can actually do this sort of testing whether an item can be sorted or not. Because if you don't do that test, I explained that in the last stream, I mean, you're sort of screwed. You're gonna fill up. You're gonna clog your system, and I explained this in the last stream. Nobody who builds these systems talks about it. If you don't put in items that can be sorted, it's gonna just clog the dang thing. And when you have a storage that is hypothetically supposed to be infinite, how the balls are you supposed to know what's inside of your storage at all times? Nobody brings it up. Sethbling, everybody else who's made one of these, of course they don't, because it's like a gigantic flaw. It's like, and there's there's nearly no way to solve the problem, so of course nobody wants to even bring it up or address it. Anyway, maybe this could still work, but it would be still so difficult, because the only other way I can see you actually putting this sorting, once again, the hopper doesn't work there. And if the hopper doesn't work where the chests are going to be lifted above the hopper, even though they're not on top of it, they're just near it, they're in its vicinity, and they're above it, and yet they still dump their items into its inventory. My gosh, I want to kill myself. Okay then, if I can't do that, where's the only other place I can put the hopper in order to sort the items? The answer would be this piece of obsidian right in here. Because the items won't be lifted up or anything, and yeah, so this is the only place where I can put a hopper that could that hopefully, my gosh, doesn't get affected by the thing. Then again, this powered rail being above it, who knows, maybe they'll get put into the hopper. I don't think they will, actually. I think that'll be fine. Well, no it won't. Oh my gosh, it really isn't. Holy schmucka bucka effing. It won't, because the fact of the matter is that the minecarts that come on this rail are going to come here and then drop, which means they will at a brief moment be above the hopper, not on top of it, just above it in any general vicinity, and that means they will get their items put in there. So at this point in time, I'm thinking, is this literally impossible? Okay, well, from the logic that I've just said, it is actually literally impossible. Now, whether I have the variables incorrect, who knows, but I don't think I have the variables incorrect. Okay, well, the sorting may be just straight up literally impossible, which is a gigantic oversight and huge flaw in this entire concept of infinite minecart storage. Yeah, I think it was a great idea. I also think it's a terrible, terrible idea when you actually think about it. Alright, and, you know, that was a lot. I know, guys, that was a lot, but evidently you can understand why things are not as they seem with this entire concept. The last thing I'm going to say, because I don't want to go on about why everything is just the worst forever, but I will say this is sort of the home run as far as this whole thing not making any sense at all. So it really does make me debate whether I will come back to this in any way, shape, or form. It's going to be impractical in almost any sense. There may be a way to sort of shorten it down and ask the user to do more in order to not have as much redstone, making it more practical, which is always nice. You know, inevitably that's annoying for the user, but I don't know what to tell you. This thing's gonna, yeah, it's sort of disastrous. Sethbling's here, very simple. But also, if you're gonna build this one, it's just, you're not gonna get what you want out of it. Here's the problem. What's advertised is just so amazing. You know, infinite storage, right? All it costs is a minecart with the chest, and it's infinite storage, and you can access it, and you can the main problem, or the main thing with these systems is accessing the storage. It's easy to put a bunch of minecarts into one place. The problem is getting what you want from them. Oh man. And yeah. So that's the thing. In all simplicity, let me explain the big rule of basically what I was getting to and then sort of forgot. These systems make no sense. The whole concept makes no sense because of the fact that the more minecarts you add, the more storage you add, and the more you increase your capacity. Well, you don't really increase your capacity for storage, you more just increase the storage. But the more you do that, the slower the searching becomes, alright? And let me try and make a point that I thought about earlier to you guys. This machine here is literally searching the minecarts the fastest it possibly can. The fastest it possibly can. It's on a 2-tick it takes 2 ticks to search through 1 minecart. That is literally, may I mind you, as fast as Sethbling's original one here. It takes it takes 2 ticks to search through 1 minecart, right? Now that doesn't sound half bad if you have 5 minecarts, 7 minecarts, 10 minecarts, okay. But you understand that you know, you get to 40 minecarts, you get to 50, 60, 70, 100 minecarts, because you're storing everything, right? This is supposed to be your universal infinite storage where you can search and things, whatever. Right? Jeez. You know, you get up to that many minecarts, and guess what? It starts to take forever to search your stuff, right? I'm gonna open up my thing, throw out a diamond, right? And it's gonna take 3 minutes in order for the chest to show up, right? It's gonna be awful. And I say that to the extent that you have what, 60 carts in your storage, right? Or something like that. It's gonna take so long. I don't want to wait. I don't want to sit here for 2 to 3 minutes waiting for my diamond chest to basically get to my display or whatever, right? And you have to understand, mine is going as fast as it possibly can to search. So is Sethbling's. I have went on YouTube, as you guys already know from the last stream, and searched up lots of these things. Many of them actually add in delay. It makes it a lot easier. Just FYI, to build these machines, the infinite storage. Sorry, my dog is going nuts. If you put in delay into the searching, it just makes it way easier in a lot of different ways. But I didn't want to do that. I want to have it search as fast as possible. And once again, having it search as fast as possible it'll still take just minutes to get your stuff if you get up to 50 plus carts. And inevitably you're going to get up to 50 plus carts. Just think about it. Your cobblestone, what, 20 chests, 40 chests just for your cobble? I mean, if you want to store all your dirt, all your sand, there's these things. You want to build a castle someday? Of course you store these things. The entire concept is flawed. The entire concept is flawed. So there's 2 things that nobody addresses. The sorting, the auto sorting is just going to be, you know, it's inhumane to think that we know what's inside of our storage, so inevitably that whole thing's going to get clogged, and that's same with Sethbling's, same with everybody's. And the fact that the entire concept is flawed, because the more storage you add, the longer it just takes to search, and that's going to just get super cancerous after a while. It really will. It's going to take minutes to get one chest, as far as Sethbling's thing is concerned, that you want. It's going to take, you know, minutes to start getting certain chests, even with mine, and I can have multiple chests. That's fine, but it's going to take minutes to search and get you the stuff you want. Yeah, that's just the simplest way I can put it. So I like the idea of having an infinite storage. I really do. And this is a good idea. Sethbling's sort of idea here with using the minecart entities as infinite storage is a good idea. Make no mistake. But when you really decide to think about it, and when you start working with it, and it makes you think about it in these ways, and you start realizing the fact that it makes no sense. It actually just won't work very well, no matter what you do. Like, anybody who adds any delay, and remember, a lot of the ones I saw on YouTube added delay to their searches. I mean, remember, mine's going to take minutes. Sethbling's is going to take minutes. If you add any delay, I mean, it's going to take forever. It's going to take like 10 minutes. It's like, no, that's just not, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Filling up these chests with tags and searching so many minecarts, it's not going to happen. It's just not possible. It's not possible for anybody to, it could be practical to build a machine, but as far as it not being possible, in the sense, nobody's going to want this. It just takes too long to access the items you want access to. So this entire concept is fundamentally flawed because of that, and once again the auto sort. No human can remember what's in their storage, so it's just very unrealistic. But it's mainly because of that first concept. I mean, technically you could look in your search things and say, well, I guess that's in the storage, yes. But to the extent that you're using tags, which basically everybody does, those tags may contain multiple things, in which case you still then do not know what's in your storage. So it's still a valid point. Yeah, that's the information I feel like it's very important I disclose to you guys. I think it's very understandable if I do not continue to pursue this. I've made 2 different functions for different ways to do this machine. I've put a lot of work into it. I've done a lot of testing with these with more minecart testing. You guys got to see this. Remember, I was creating an advanced auto potion machine, right, with minecarts as my memory. You guys ought to see this. All of this minecarts. All of this minecarts. All of this minecarts. Where's all the other minecart stuff? All of this is UI. That's fine. It's redstone. All of this minecarts. Minecarts. All of this stuff here. And everything at the Sethbling was minecarts. It's nuts. I've worked so much with minecarts, and my conclusion is that nobody should work with them. That's my conclusion. They're just too inconsistent. They have great properties as entities that can store things, but also the problem is that the properties do not overcome the flaws of minecarts and the fact that they're just so inconsistent. So yeah, they're good for like maybe 1 or 2 things, but make no mistake, you could still make things with them. But as far as big projects, it's like working with Alice, which is some really crappy game engine, and then it's like working with a game engine that just isn't capable of building the game that you're actually thinking of, right? Your ambition literally is too much for the game engine to even handle, so the game just crashes the second you try to do anything, cool in the game engine. That was my experience with Alice. It's stupid. I hate that. But it's just a really crappy game engine. I tried to build like a strategy game in Alice, and like after the first 2 units were like created out of some land factories or something, the whole thing just crashed and the units just expanded. Like, like when you have the stretchy characters and it fills up the entire map. That happened with the units, and you look in the code, the little block code, and it's like there's literally nothing that's telling the unit to resize itself in any way, shape, or form, and yet the unit just expands beyond belief. It's like, okay, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, the minecart hoppers the minecarts are just working with something that is too janky. Using them in big projects is working with something that just isn't capable of handling what you want to do. So that's my overall conclusions with all this. So yes, I at the end, at the original start of the video, I said maybe I'll come back to it, but I'm gonna say I don't think I will. I think this is it. Unless, I have some sort of reason to come back, I don't think I will. And that's just because, fundamentally, after 20 carts in your storage, it just becomes almost impractical to search for things at that point. It's way easier to just have a bunch of storage and just walk up, instantly open a chest, and take what you want, versus having to search for it, having to receive it, having to send it back. It is in no way practical in any way, shape, or form. And because of that, I'm out.